Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with students, teachers and parents at Pariksha Pe Charcha in the national capital. National Education Policy 2020 caters to 21st century aspirations and takes India into the future, says the Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind embarks on a two-nation tour to Turkmenistan and the Netherlands. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar holds bilateral meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi. Nepal Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deoba to arrive in New Delhi this afternoon on a three-day visit. Odisha is celebrating its Foundation Day today. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet people of Odisha on the occasion. Heat wave sweeps north, central and western parts of the country. IMD asks people to avoid exposure to the sun. In IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders to take on Punjab Kings at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai this evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said the National Education Policy 2020 caters to 21st century aspirations and takes India to the future. Interacting with students, teachers and parents in the Pariksha Pe Charcha program in Delhi, Mr. Modi said the consultative process for the National Education Policy has been exhaustive and people across India were consulted for this.
नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का हिंदुस्तान के हर तबके में पुरजोश स्वागत हुआ है और इसलिए इस काम को करने वाले सब अभिनंदन के अधिकारी लाखों लोग हैं जिन्होंने इसको बनाया है। देश के नागरिकों ने बनाया है, देश के विद्यार्थियों ने बनाया है, देश के टीचर्स ने बनाया है और देश के भविष्य के लिए बनाया है।
He said outdated ideas and policies from the 20th century cannot guide India's development trajectory in the 21st century. He said the country has to change with the times.
क्या हम 20वीं सदी की नीतियों को लेकर के 21वीं सदी का निर्माण कर सकते हैं क्या? 20वीं सदी की सोच, 20वीं सदी की व्यवस्था, 20वीं सदी की नीति, इससे 21वीं सदी में आगे बढ़ सकते हैं क्या? तो हमें 21वीं सदी के अनुकूल अपनी सारी व्यवस्थाओं को, सारी नीतियों को ढालना चाहिए। अगर हम अपने आप को इवॉल्व नहीं करेंगे तो हम ठहर जाएंगे और ठहर जाएंगे ऐसा नहीं, हम पिछड़ जाएंगे।
The Prime Minister added that technology is not a bane and it should be welcomed and used effectively. Saying that pre-exam stress is among the most common feelings among students, Mr. Modi advised students to remember that they are exam-proof as they have successfully overcome such exams before. He said the unfulfilled dreams of parents and teachers cannot be forced upon children. Mr. Modi said exams are an innate part of people's life and just another milestone in the development journey.
परीक्षा जीवन का एक सहज हिस्सा है, हमारी विकास यात्रा का छोटे छोटे पड़ाव है और उस पड़ाव से हमें गुजरना है। हम गुजर चुके हैं। जब इतनी बार हम एग्जाम दे चुके हैं, हम एग्जाम प्रूफ हो गए हैं और जब ये विश्वास पैदा हो जाता है तो ये नहीं, आने वाली किसी भी एग्जाम के लिए ये अनुभव अपने आप में आपकी ताकत बन जाते हैं। इसे आपके इन अनुभव को, जिस प्रक्रिया से आप गुजरे हैं, उसको आप कतई छोटा मत मानिए और इसलिए मेरा आपसे आग्रह है कि आप इस प्रेशर में मत रहिए, पैनिक क्रिएट हो ऐसा वातावरण को पनपने ही मत दीजिए।
He said God has deprived a disabled person of so many abilities, but the disabled have transformed those weaknesses into strengths. He said students should introspect and look into what weaknesses are hindering them from progressing. The Prime Minister said infinite opportunities await the country's youth as they belong to a special generation. He said there could be more competition, but there are also many more opportunities. Mr. Modi said there is great inquisitiveness among youngsters on how to improve productivity while at work and how to prepare better for exams. He also spoke about empowering the girl child. He said daughter is the strength of the family. The Prime Minister said people were skeptical about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, but this skepticism was proved wrong by the country's children. He praised children for spreading awareness regarding the cleanliness campaign. Many schools in Palghar district of Maharashtra also joined Prime Minister Narendra Modi's discussion program today. In Mumbai, some parents and teachers expressed their views on this unique initiative. Principal of Powai English High School, Shirley Pillai, shared her views on the program.
This is Shirley Pillai, an educator from Powai English High School, Mumbai. Our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji envisions a bright future for India. His dream for a strong nation, his ideologies have strengthened India. Whether it's Atmanirbhar Bharat, Man Ki Baat, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, the new education policy, Sarva Shikshan Abhiyan, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, etc. has left a greater impact and holds Indian culture high. The concern for students makes our Prime Minister closer to our heart. The Namo app, the book by our Prime Minister himself, Pariksha Pe Charcha, an annual event since 2018, shows his dedication and perseverance and the love for the people. He is igniting people for better change.
Shailesh Pimple, a parent of a student, expressed his happiness and shared his thoughts.
यस, हम सभी जानते हैं कि परीक्षा के समय विद्यार्थी और अभिभावक दोनों चिंतित हो जाते हैं, टेंस हो जाते हैं, स्ट्रेस लेते हैं एग्जाम का। लेकिन परीक्षा पे चर्चा के माध्यम से हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो मार्गदर्शन किया है, उससे मुझे विश्वास है कि सभी छात्राओं को और अभिभावकों को आत्मविश्वास मिला है। और जो टिप्स उन्होंने शेयर किए, उससे मुझे विश्वास है कि हमारे सभी छात्र परीक्षा को आत्मविश्वास से दे पाएंगे। और एज ए पेरेंट भी हमें हमारा रोल पता चला कि हमारी भूमिका क्या होनी चाहिए। तो मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का तहे दिल से आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूँ।
President Ramnath Kovind has embarked on a two-nation tour today to Turkmenistan and Netherlands. To the first leg of the tour, the President is visiting Turkmenistan. This will be the first ever visit of an Indian President to Turkmenistan. This visit is significant as it is taking place as India marks 30 years of diplomatic relations with Turkmenistan. The visit is also happening within 2 weeks of the new President of Turkmenistan, Serdar Berdi Muhamedov, assuming charge. President Ramnath Kovind will hold meetings with his counterpart, which will be followed by bilateral delegation-level talks within the two countries and signing of several MOUs. Minister of State in the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying and Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan, along with Member of Parliament Dilip Ghosh, are also accompanying the President on this tour. In the second leg, President Kovind will be on a 4-day visit to the Netherlands from Monday. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that India has always been in favour of resolving differences and disputes through dialogue and diplomacy. In the opening remarks at the meeting with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi, Dr. Jaishankar said in the meeting today they will discuss contemporary issues and concerns in detail. He said the meeting is taking place in a difficult international environment. Dr. Jaishankar said India has diversified the cooperation by expanding its agenda. He said India-Russia bilateral relations have continued to grow in many areas. In his opening remarks, Mr. Lavrov said India and Russia have been developing strategic partnership and this has been the priority. He said Russia is interested in having balance in the world order. Mr. Lavrov said India and Russia have intensified the bilateral relations and President Putin has sent his best regards to Prime Minister Modi.
Nepal Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deoba will arrive in New Delhi today on a 3-day visit to India at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He will be accompanied by his wife, Dr. Arzu Deoba, and a high-level delegation. This will be the first bilateral visit abroad by the Prime Minister of Nepal after assuming his office in July last year. Mr. Deoba will call on Vice President Venkaiah Naidu and hold talks with Prime Minister Modi tomorrow. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will call on the Prime Minister of Nepal. Besides official engagements in New Delhi, Mr. Deoba will visit Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani today advocated for mental health facilities to be given to children participating in television shows. Replying to supplementaries in the Lok Sabha, Ms. Irani suggested that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting should reach out to the industry at large to ensure that the industry and especially production houses that engage with children can equally benefit from the services of NIMHANS. In reply to another question, the minister said as per the National Family Health Survey, the percentage of malnourished and severely malnourished children under 5 years of age is 19.3% and 7.7% respectively. She said the government has given utmost priority to bridge the gender gap in the country. Ms. Irani said the government has approved Mission Poshan 2.0 and Saksham Anganwadi to strengthen nutritional content, delivery, outreach and outcomes with focus on developing practices that nurture health and wellness.
The government today said over 81 lakh women beneficiaries have been provided guarantees for loan under Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme ECLGS till the 20th of February this year. This is a scheme for MSMEs, businesses, mudra borrowers and individuals. In a written reply, the Lok Sabha Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani said the government has taken several initiatives to support and protect the interest of women and other entrepreneurs through stimulus given under Atmanirbhar Bharat packages to combat the impact of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers, Bhagwant Khubha, today informed the Lok Sabha that IFFCO has developed nanotechnology-based nano-urea liquid fertilizer. It has been provisionally based on the preliminary experimental trials undertaken in several ICAR research institutes and state agricultural universities. In a written reply, he said nano-urea spray on different crops gave comparable yields to those obtained under fully recommended doses of fertilizers, with 50% savings in top-dressed urea.
The centre today said there is no proposal to transfer or allow lateral entry into Indian medical institutions for students pursuing education in the countries interrupted by war and conflict. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha, the Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Bharti Pawar, said for the betterment of Indian students pursuing medical studies abroad, National Medical Commission NMC in its circular on the 4th of last month has allowed foreign medical graduates with incomplete internship due to such compelling situation to complete their remaining part of internship in India. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh today proposed the introduction of the Antarctic Bill 2022 in the Lok Sabha. After a voice vote and the ayes getting a majority, the bill was introduced in the House. The bill aims at having India's own national measures for protecting the Antarctic environment and dependent and associated ecosystem.
The National Security Council Secretariat has formulated a draft National Cybersecurity Strategy 2021, which holistically looks at addressing the issues of security of national cyberspace. This was stated by the Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, in a written reply in the Rajya Sabha today. He said the government is committed to ensure that the Internet in India is open, safe, trusted and accountable for all users. He added the government is fully cognizant and aware of various cyber security threats. The government has approved setting up of 7 PM Mega Integrated Textile Region and Apparel PM Mitra Parks in Greenfield and Brownfield sites. It aims at developing world-class infrastructure, including plug-and-play facility with an outlay of 4,445 crore rupees for a period of 7 years up to 2027-28. This was stated by the Minister of State for Textiles, Ms. Darshana Jardos, in a written reply in the Rajya Sabha today. She said a total of 17 preliminary project reports, PPRs, from 13 state governments have been received from the state government so far.
The government is committed to form a committee to review minimum support price and farmers' issue as per the announcement made by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Replying to supplementaries in the Rajya Sabha today, the Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister Narendra Singh Tomar said the committee will have members from the centre, states, farmers' organizations, agricultural scientists and economists. He informed that the government has sought names from the farmers' organization to include their names in the committee. He said the process of setting up a committee is under process. In his address to the nation in November last year, the Prime Minister had announced the formation of a committee to promote zero budgeting-based agriculture, to change crop pattern as per the changing needs of the country, and to make MSP more effective and transparent. Ministry of Women and Child Development will hold zonal conferences with states and UTs in Chandigarh, Bengaluru, Guwahati, Mumbai and Bhubaneswar on different dates this month. The objective of the zonal conferences is to sensitize state governments and UT administrations on the three umbrella missions of the ministry: Mission Poshan 2.0, Mission Shakti and Mission Vatsalya, to facilitate proper implementation of the schemes over the next 5 years in the true spirit of cooperative federalism.
Over 184 crore 31 lakh vaccine doses have been administered so far in the nationwide vaccination drive. Health Ministry said over 23 lakh 57,000 doses were administered yesterday. The recovery rate is currently at 98.76%. Over 1,300 new cases were recorded in the last 24 hours. 52 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with students, teachers and parents at Pariksha Pe Charcha in the national capital. National Education Policy 2020 caters to the 21st century aspirations and takes India into the future, says the Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind embarks on a two-nation tour to Turkmenistan and the Netherlands. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar holds bilateral meetings with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi. Nepal Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba to arrive in New Delhi this afternoon on a 3-day visit. Odisha is celebrating its Foundation Day today. President, Vice President and Prime Minister greet people of Odisha on the occasion. Heat wave sweeps north, central and western parts of the country. IMD asks people to avoid exposure to the sun. And in IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders to take on Punjab Kings at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai this evening. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
क्या आप कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम की तैयारी कर रहे हैं? ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के नए प्रोग्राम अभ्यास में हमारे विशेषज्ञ आपके सवालों का देंगे जवाब। शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे FM गोल्ड पर। इस बार का विषय है इंडियन पॉलिटी एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। आप इससे जुड़े सवाल व्हाट्सएप करें 9289094044 पर या सवाल ईमेल भी कर सकते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर। भारतीय संविधान और राजनीति विषय पर आपके प्रश्न हमें 5 अप्रैल तक मिल जाने चाहिए। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the Midday News. Heat wave is sweeping north, central and western parts of the country. Temperature soared above 40 degrees Celsius in Delhi NCR, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Rajasthan. India Meteorological Department IMD has said that heat wave conditions are likely to prevail in some districts in the northwest, central and west India for the next 4 days. IMD has advised people to avoid exposure to the sun and also issued an alert for the Labour Ministry, the Power Ministry and Fire Departments. Talking to AIR News, Indian Meteorological Department DG Mrityunjay Mahapatra said,
Past 3 to 4 days में नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया और वेस्ट सेंट्रल इंडिया में हीट वेव कंडीशंस जारी है, जिनका तापमात्रा लगभग 4 से 7 डिग्री सेल्सियस नॉर्मल कंडीशन से ज्यादा है। आज जो स्थिति है, इससे पता चलता है कि नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया में जैसे पंजाब, हरियाणा, वेस्ट यूपी, जम्मू, हिमाचल प्रदेश, उत्तराखंड, इस सब एरिया में तापमान में गिरावट आएगी और जो हीट वेव कंडीशन है इसमें सुधार होगा। मगर जो सेंट्रल इंडिया है जैसे राजस्थान, गुजरात, नॉर्दर्न पार्ट्स ऑफ महाराष्ट्र, मध्य प्रदेश, छत्तीसगढ़, इंटीरियर ओडिशा, नॉर्दर्न पार्ट्स ऑफ तेलंगाना, ये सभी एरिया में हीट वेव कंडीशन अगले 3 दिन तक जारी रहेगी और धीरे धीरे ईस्टर्न पार्ट से हीट वेव कंडीशन चला जाएगा।
Odisha is celebrating its Foundation Day today. It was made into a separate state on this day way back in 1936. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have greeted people of Odisha on the occasion of Odisha Day. In a tweet, the President said, "The land of the temples of Jagannath, Lingaraj, Konark and other rich heritages, Odisha gave the world a message of peace and love, shunning violence." He conveyed best wishes for the progress of the state. In his greetings, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said, Odisha is renowned for its iconic temples, vibrant culture and picturesque places. He said the industrious people of Odisha have contributed immensely to the growth of the nation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said Odia people are making landmark contributions to India's progress and Odia culture is globally admired. He prayed for Odisha's development in the times to come. Odisha Governor Professor Ganeshi Lal, Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and many other dignitaries have also wished the people of Odisha on the occasion of Utkal Divas today. The state-level function to mark the day has been scheduled in capital Bhubaneswar in the evening.
And now let's listen to a special program Azadi Ka Safar highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter Avantibai Lodhi, who participated in the first war of Indian independence in 1857.
Avantibai Lodhi was born on the 16th of August 1831 in Sivni, Madhya Pradesh. She married Prince Vikramaditya Lodhi, the son of Raja Lakshman Singh of Ramgarh. Rani Avantibai Lodhi took up the reins of administration of the state in her hands on behalf of her minor son, Amar Singh, following the Raja's ill health. When Raja Vikramaditya Singh died in 1851, the British authorities decided to pass the Ramgarh's administration over to a court of ward in total disregard of the Rani. She strongly resented the British action.
During the First War of Indian Independence, Rani Avantibai joined the independence activists by commandeering the Ramgarh troops and confronted the British in Sohagpur. Rani Avantibai defeated the British in the battle. Stung by the defeat, the British came back with vengeance and launched an attack on Ramgarh. Avantibai resorted to guerrilla warfare to fend off the British army. In the decisive battle in the hilly region of Devharigarh on the 1st of April 1858, the combined forces were defeated by the British. The Rani had to retreat to Ramgarh, where she and her followers were encircled.
While many accounts claim that Avantibai took her own life to evade capture when the defeat was imminent, other accounts claim that she died in captivity in August 1858. She is remembered through performances and folklore and continues to inspire people. We salute the great freedom fighter.
We also remember martyr Anand Charan Malik, a shopkeeper in the Dharamtola area of Kolkata, who died on the 1st of April 1930.
Charan Malik, along with other people of the area, was dissatisfied with the new rules of trade implemented by the British administration. They objected to the new rules on the ground that their livelihood will be adversely affected, and hence decided to hold a demonstration. On the 1st of April 1930, the carters, in unison, removed their animals from the carts and left their carts on the roads. The arrival of the police to clear the main roads by force resulted in pitched battles. Soon, the agitating carters were joined by the sympathetic public in a large number. The police resorted to firing on the crowd, killing Anand Charan Malik and 6 others. We salute the great son of the soil.
We also remember Martyr Varyam Singh, who participated in the 11th non-violent Shahidi Morcha to Jaito Gurdwara, Gangsar, Nabha in 1925 against the British order, prohibiting all prayer assemblies in the area. When the Morcha reached Jaito, the British-led troops stopped it and arrested a large number of its participants. Varyam Singh was also arrested and tortured to death in Nabha Bir jail on the 1st of April 1925. We salute the great son of the soil.
On this day, we also remember freedom fighter Rahim Ali Khan, who led independence activists during the First War of Indian Independence in 1857. He was caught by the British in the course of an engagement and sent to the Andaman Islands on the 7th of March 1859 and died in imprisonment on the 1st of April 1859. We salute the great martyr.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
Minister of Information and Broadcasting Anurag Thakur visited the AIR Bengaluru station today. Showing keen interest in the activities pursued by the station, the minister visited each of the studios dedicated to FM Rainbow, music, news and primary channel. Later in the day, the Union Minister will take part in the event to launch the logo, theme song and jerkin for the Khelo India University Games to begin on the 24th of April in Bengaluru. The Governor Thawar Chand Gehlot and Union Minister of State for Sports Affairs Nishit Pramanik will be present on this occasion.
In Sri Lanka, the curfew imposed in Colombo and its suburbs to contain the protests against Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has been lifted today. Protesters were demanding the resignation of the president. Police fired tear gas and a water cannon at the thousands gathered outside Rajapaksa's residence in Mirihina to contain the protest. Police said 54 people have been arrested for the unrest. Officials said 5 policemen were injured during the clash. The curfew was imposed within the Colombo North, South, Colombo Central, Nugegoda, Mount Lavinia and Kelania police divisions. There has been a critical shortage of food and essential items, fuel and gas for weeks as the country grapples with the worst economic downturn since its independence. Meanwhile, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has sought Prime Minister Narendra Modi's approval to allow the state government to provide humanitarian aid to Sri Lankan Tamils. Several economic refugees have already reached the state. In Pakistan, opposition parties have lambasted Prime Minister Imran Khan for not fulfilling a single promise and enslaving the country to foreign institutions. Their comments came shortly after Imran Khan addressed the nation yesterday. In his address, he claimed the opposition is acceptable to foreign powers as they were corrupt, but he is not bearable to them. Pakistan People's Party Chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari said there is no safe passage for Imran Khan now. Mr. Bilawal said only Imran's resignation is the honourable exit for him.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi today remembered visionary spiritual leader Sri Shivakumara Swamigalu on his birth anniversary. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said he was the epitome of selfless service and righteousness. He said Sri Shivakumara Swamigalu will always be remembered for his remarkable contribution to the field of education. In a tweet, Prime Minister said Sri Shivakumara Swamigalu lives in the hearts of countless people. Union Home Minister Amit Shah participated in the 115th birth anniversary of late Sri Dr. Shivakumara Swami in Siddhaganga Mutt of Tumakuru in Karnataka today. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Shah said that Dr. Shiva Kumar Swami, who lived for 112 years and was the pontiff of Siddhaganga Mutt for 88 years, was a karma yogi. In IPL cricket, Kolkata will take on Punjab Kings at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai at 7:30 p.m.
Now, before we end the bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with students, teachers and parents at Pariksha Pe Charcha in the national capital. National Education Policy 2020 caters to 21st century aspirations and takes India into the future, says the Prime Minister. President Ramnath Kovind embarks on a two-nation tour to Turkmenistan and the Netherlands. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar holds bilateral meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi. And with that, we end the midday news.